Hello there folks, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Lone Adventurer, very glad to be joining you today. It's been a couple of weeks since I last filmed a video and I'm back with a game called Caves and Catacombs, which is a solo dungeon crawling game published by Geek, designed by Gustavo Coelho, and this is a game that you can find on itch.io or DriveThruRPG, I believe. There'll be links in the description down below. Gustavo sent me this game to check out quite a while ago now, and it's taken me a little while to get to it, not because it didn't look interesting, just because I have a lot of games that I want to play. And in reality, I've played quite a few games like this, so perhaps other games took precedence to some degree. This is a game that will strike you as quite familiar in style and approach if you have played games like 4 Against Darkness, Dark Fort, probably D100 Dungeon, although I haven't played that one myself. But I think what sets this game apart from those, as highlighted by Daniel on the Dungeon Dive in his recent overview of games of this nature, and in fact it was that video that reminded me that I really did want to get to Caves and Catacombs. This is a game that is quite straightforward in its approach. So if you want to try out a game like this, and you've looked at D100 Dungeon and you've looked at 4 Against Darkness, then this is one of 2 or 3, I would say, that I would consider trying first in order to dip your toes in the dungeon pool? The shallow end of the pool in the dungeon? I'm not really sure what I'm saying right now. Okay, so you can see that it is quite a slender tome. This I have had printed out myself, so I don't think it is one that you can get print on demand. If I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. So what have we got in this book? Well, we have rules essentially for creating characters, creating a simple quest and location to undertake that quest in, and then rules for completing that quest. And we have got a little bit of world building around it. It's quite light. I think probably the world building comes into its own a little bit more in the overland expansion that exists for this game. I've got that as well, but I won't be featuring that in this video. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see it. Are we going to read out the intro text? I'll tell you what, we'll read out this bit here, I think. Caves and Catacombs is set in Aegon, a fantasy world divided into 4 continents: the central Locus, the dark Alidha, the cold Juland, and the lost Akesh. Legends say that a long time ago in the heart of Aegon, amidst swirling clouds, lived the goddess Nexelia, also known as the Mother of the Sun. Unlike other solar deities, Nexelia didn't hold just one fiery orb in her embrace. She cradled 10 incandescent birds, each shimmering with its own unique fire. These magnificent creatures ruled the sky in a celestial dance. Each day, one sunbird would ascend to illuminate the world, and they took turns, ensuring a balanced rhythm of day and night. However, one fateful day, chaos unfurled. Whether due to a mischievous prank or miscalculation, all 10 sunbirds soared across the sky together. Their combined luminescence scorched Aegon. Rivers gurgled dry, forests cracked like tinder, and crops shriveled under the relentless heat. The cries of suffering reached the ears of the legendary archer Lyra. Determined to end the scorching agony, she retreated to the deepest cave in Aledra, crafting 10 arrows from pure darkness. With these arrows she shot down 9 of the sunbirds, their fiery forms falling back to earth as meteors. When she was about to shoot down the last sunbird, Aelrin, the queen of the central kingdom, intervened, preventing Lyra from extinguishing the last sun. The 10th arrow, once safeguarded in a secret location on Locus, is now rumoured to be lost, and word around is that Udrexis is searching for this arrow so they can unleash it upon the sun, casting the world into an abyss of perpetual light. Player characters are from Locus, and no matter what or where their mission is, they will be fighting the forces of Udrexis. So I've played a couple of games of this now, and generally speaking the setting hasn't played into it particularly, but if you were so inclined you could probably weave the story of the world into the quests that you are sending your character on, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Gustavo has based this game on a game of his own design. So his original game was Advanced Adventuras Hierocas, which was an advanced version of a game he made before that, back in 1991. Oh no, it was an advanced version he created of a game that was published in 1991, so not by him, and heavily inspired by HeroQuest. So if you're familiar with HeroQuest, this is probably a game that will seem quite natural as well, although the rules are straightforward enough that really there's no barrier of entry for anyone. And indeed, there's no barrier of entry in terms of the resources you will need. All you need is this book, a sheet of paper, and a few dice, and a pen or pencil, probably a pencil. And that's it, that's all you need. So that is pretty cool. It's nice to have a game with a nice simple footprint. You don't need any cards, you don't need any other resources really, although it does say in here that you can use pre-made adventures and things of that nature if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, but you don't need it. Everything can be played with what is in this book. The art is all public domain, so it's all art that was freely available, but it's nicely chosen and well presented just to break up the text a little bit and make the book look a little bit more interesting. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do character creation. We're going to create an adventure, a quest as it were, and then we are going to play through it. It shouldn't take too long. You will see how straightforward this game is and whether it is for you. I'm going to try and include everything on this one sheet of paper. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to draw the map on here. I'm going to include all of the notes about the location on here, and I'm going to put the character on here as well. So our character needs a name, then an archetype. And the archetypes are things like bard, druid, cleric, warrior, stuff like that. A fighter is what I went for last time because that was just more straightforward. I went for the druid originally, but there was a couple of things about the druid which I didn't quite understand and made me a little bit hesitant about playing as that archetype. Druids get an animal companion, but it doesn't really say what the animal companion can do. I guess they can attack alongside you, but there's no real rules for that. Probably you can just extrapolate from what's here and do your own thing, but sometimes I'm quite literal when I'm reading rules and I like things to be nice and clear. And then it says once a day druids can transform into an animal, gaining the physical attributes, attack, defense and vitality of that animal. And I wasn't really convinced that that was going to be beneficial, but now I look at it. So the druid starts with a wooden staff which gives an attack of 1. We'll talk about what that means later. But as a wolf or an eagle, your attack is 2. I see. And the defense that you get with a cloak, and actually the eagle's defense is 3, the wolf's defense is 2. Okay, so maybe that's an advantage, but there's no clear explanation of sort of the benefits of turning into an animal. beyond that. So yeah, I wasn't sure about that. I don't think we'll go for druid again today. Maybe we'll go for a bard. That could be fun. Probably not a cleric. Maybe a cleric, now that I'm looking at it. They start with a battle hammer, which is pretty kick-ass. And chainmail. So they're actually quite well tooled up. Maybe we'll play as a cleric. Let's play as a cleric. Let's do that. Right, so our cleric needs a name. I'm not very good at names. I'm just going to grab the nearest thing to me that is going to give me a name. And that's an excuse to show you this lovely, lovely book, which I got when I backed recently Eco Mofos. And that's a lovely book as well. So much I want to show you. But that I also bought a copy of Lone Eons when I did that, and I know this has got a name generator in it. I don't know what an Uruk-hai is, because I haven't read this much yet, but I think we're going to go for an Uruk-hai. Alright. 5 gives us Shale. Alright, that is a good name. Thanks, Lone Eons. So we will call our cleric Shale. So our character is going to have 3 attributes: an attack score, a defense score, and their vitality, which is like their health points. So clerics are members of religious orders. Due to the connection with the gods, they can cast divine spells and turn undead. Interesting. I haven't come across or used spells at all in this game yet, so it'll be nice to get into that. Clerics are also skilled warriors, typically favouring blunt weapons such as hammers or maces. So our cleric, her attack score is going to be the same as their weapon. The weapon they have is a battle hammer. So attack is going to be 4. We'll list some items here. And so chainmail informs the defense. So our defense is going to be 3 based upon the chainmail. Then we've got a vitality of 6. And then we've got 4 spells. Skills, cleric can roll an extra die when fighting undead. So I think that means that's essentially having +1 attack. So we'll just make some notes here. I'll put a little section for money. Not that I have any yet, but I know we get some, or hopefully we'll get some. We'll pop some notes here. Alright, I've added some notes. I've chosen the spells. I'll talk you through those now. In terms of the notes, we get +1 versus undead on attack, and we can turn undead once per combat. And I believe turning undead is sort of like putting the fear of God into the undead and making them flee from a combat, if we feel that is required. But I think armed with my battle hammer and my chainmail, probably will be alright. We'll see how it goes. So for the spells, I've sort of leaned towards practical spells a little bit. I've gone for heal, which allows us to recover vitality if we've been injured. I've gone for unlock doors, which just automatically unlocks all doors in a room or corridor. I've also gone for animate dead, which will give us like a pet zombie, essentially. Oh, from a recently dead body. So we have to wait until we have a corpse to animate, and then they'll follow us around and be generally helpful in attacking others. And I've also gone for command. Makes the target obey a simple command given from you as long as it would not cause them to harm themselves. Not sure what I'm going to be using that for, but I thought I'd throw in a sort of a wild card. Oh, you can also have advantages and disadvantages. So advantage is like a helpful thing. Obviously, disadvantage is the opposite. So if you want one of the advantages, you have to take a disadvantage to balance it out. I think we will leave that out for this game. And then we've got rules for creating a quest. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rolling a few dice to establish the location to which we are going. We can also roll for a cool name, so we'll probably do that. Then we'll be rolling on a couple of tables to establish the quest that we are going to be doing. Yeah, okay, so that's it in terms of establishing the quest. So let's do that now. This has reminded me actually that you can make a party of multiple characters. And I do definitely want to do that. I think that would be quite fun to have a party of multiple characters. It's been quite a while, I think, since I've played a game where you're not playing an individual. But let's roll some dice. So what type of dungeon have we got here? 2, sewers. So deep in the sewers, where are our sewers located? 3, beneath a forest. Okay. So maybe they are ancient ruined sewers. We'll find that out in a second. 1, this is the construction type, natural formation. That doesn't make any sense for sewers, so we'll switch that up actually. We'll say that it's carved from stone. The status, 5 means destroyed or in ruins. That's good, that makes sense. Size, 1 floor. Lighting, no lighting. So we get if there's no lighting, we'll have to think about how we're seeing in the dark. I haven't had to think about that yet. Do you know what? I think I'm going to ignore that for this playthrough just to keep things simple. That's a little bit of extra to think about because if you have got no lighting, you have to carry a torch. If you carry a torch, you can only use a light or a medium weight weapon, I believe, and I'm pretty sure my battle hammer is a two-handed weapon, or at least it would be. So let's just find out the what our dungeon is going to be called. We're going to be using 12, 20, Torment, and 14, Underground. Okay. Okay, so we could go for the sewers of torment, or we could go for the underground sewers, which is a bit boring, or the sewers of underground torment. I think the underground is somewhat redundant in this context, so we'll just go for the sewers of torment, I think. So, for some reason, Shale the cleric has been compelled to go into the sewers of torment, which I would imagine are the sewers of some forgotten city beneath what is now a forest. And what is our quest goal going to be? 5. Defeat a special enemy. Roll on the special enemies table, page 22. So our quest is going to be defeating a cultist priest. We'll read about the cultist priest if we get that far. Alrighty, that's it for the preparation. We've got our character. We've got a few little interesting bits and pieces to take into consideration there. We've got our location. We've got our quest. And this is a 1-floor location, which is probably good. Means we can realistically finish the quest fairly promptly. So now we're going to turn to playing the game. After defining the quest to be held in the dungeon, the game basically unfolds in 2 main phases. 1 is dungeon generation, and 2 is character actions. So essentially we will go into a room, we will establish what that room is like and what it contains. Based upon the contents of the room, we will take certain actions. Then we move on to the next one. The game ends when you complete the quest. Upon completing 3 successful quests, the player character receives 2,500 coins. Now there might be some more guidance on how to spend coins in one of the other expansions, the Into the Wild, but there's another one as well that I don't know too much about. Certainly in this one, I can't see much that you can spend coins on, really. There is some equipment tables, so you can get yourself some better armour. However, my character is starting with chainmail, so they've already got the second most good armour. So it's only full plate armour that they can really upgrade to, that she can upgrade to. And the weapons, we've already got a battle axe. Is that what we've got? No, a battle hammer. See, a battle hammer, I mean, again, somewhat generously here, it looks like I've been given amongst the best weapons as my starting weapon. So it would cost you 500 to buy, but I've already got that. So I think that's possibly a way that the game is perhaps a little unbalanced. I feel like all of the characters should start off with something quite low level, and then you build up to get those better ones, those better weapons, but that's fine, that's fine. Let's crack on, shall we? So we're going into the first and only level of these ruined, stone-hewn sewers beneath the jungle ruins, or the forest ruins of this long-forgotten city. And we need to establish how large this floor is going to be. So let's do that. We're going to roll 2d6. So it's huge. No, it's large. Okay, so that means we're going to roll 2d6, add on 12, and that's how many rooms we're going to have. Okay, not too much. So that is 4 plus 12, so it's going to be 16 rooms in total. Corridors don't count, so I'll just write here so that I remember. So the entrance to any dungeon floor is a staircase. That's where you begin. At the bottom of the staircase is an unlocked door, and beyond it you are into the location. So let's start it right down here at the bottom. We'll draw some stairs. Then we've got our unlocked door there. And beyond that, we've got our first room. So for every segment, a segment can be a room or a corridor. For every segment, you roll on this table and find out if it's a room or a corridor. 5 is a room, 1 to 2 is a corridor, 3 to 6 is a room. Then we're going to define the size. Now, what we've got here is a way to establish the size, and then a way to establish the shape. This has no real bearing on the game, but it's just a way to vary your maps and to make them more interesting, I guess. So let's see, how big is it? 4 gives us medium, so it's going to be 6 squares. 2 gives us a rectangle. Had we have rolled a 5 or a 6, we'd roll again to get the precise shape, but that just gives us a rectangle. And this is room number 1. Now with that done, we need to work out what is in the room. So we're going to be rolling for room contents, and we'll roll on this table 2 times. So 4 gives us a threat. A threat can be either an encounter with an enemy or a trap. 5 gives us a trap. 1 gives us a hidden pit. That's the first thing that's in the room. And then the second thing is some furniture. And we need 2 dice to roll for furniture. You can see each table here says 1d6 or 2d6. And you can see this is between a 2 and a 12. 5 gives us a cabinet. So up against one wall there is a cabinet. And there is a hidden pit. So now we have established what's in the room, we're going to move on to character actions. And we don't have too much of a choice here. There's a trap, and we need to do a detect trap action. Skill tests in this game are very, very simple. All you do is you roll 1d6. You might have to apply a bonus or a modifier penalty to that roll, but often you will not. 3 or lower is a fail. 4 is a success, but something negative happens, and 5 or more means you have succeeded. So we need to try and detect the trap. Are we going to notice the trap? 2, we have failed to notice the trap. It goes off. Now, I was thinking we can then avoid the trap, but actually that's only if you roll a 4. I've set the trap off and it is getting us. There's nothing we can do about it. That's very unfortunate. Right, so that's a hidden pit trap. Have fallen in and have taken 4 damage, which is absolutely brutal. So what's going to happen here is we're going to lose all of our defence. So that is the protection provided by our chainmail. And a point is even going to get through to reduce our vitality. So that is a pretty rough start. But at least now that the trap has been set off, Shale can crawl out of the pit, hoist herself out, and then we can search for treasure. So because there is furniture in this room, it means we can search it and see what there is. So we're going to look in the cabinet. It doesn't really look worth looking in a cabinet, because on a 1 to 2 an enemy will burst out, a 3 to 5 nothing of interest, and a 6 roll a random treasure, but we're going to do it anyway. 2. So some enemies burst out. What's bursting out? 1. 2 goblins. 2 goblins are jumping out of this chest. So not only have we been quite badly injured by this trap, we then open the cabinet nearby and out bursts 2 goblins. Great start. So we've got a simple bestiary at the end of the book. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 types of enemies. So it's really straightforward, simple list. Goblins are chaotic and unpredictable. They are small, cunning creatures that serve as the foot soldiers of Udrexis's army, causing mischief and mayhem wherever they go. So they have an attack of 2, a defense of 2, a vitality of 1, and they do have a little bit of treasure. So that's something. Now, as you saw with Shale taking damage is initially applied to defense, and only once that has been depleted does it get taken off the vitality. My understanding of that is that my chainmail has kind of been completely busted up now. So that is gone. So I can probably get a little bit of armour off the goblins. They have leather armour. So if I defeat them, I can take that. I'll just make a note of our 2 enemies here. Oh, that's what I was saying, wasn't I? That the damage goes on the defence first and then the vitality. So each goblin can take 2 points of damage before their 1 point of vitality will be reduced. So essentially you have to do 3 points of damage to each goblin to defeat them. Okay, so the way combat works is you can do one of these actions. You can attack, you can run away, you can cast a spell, turn undead, or drink a magic potion. If a character's vitality reaches 0, the character is defeated, they die, I suppose. And combat also ends if all enemies are defeated. Or all PCs, player characters. And then at the end of the combat you can collect any equipment or treasure off of the defeated enemies. So initiative is more significant if you have multiple characters that you are playing with. Enemies only act in response to a character's action, so they don't roll for initiative. Now, when you go into a room, enemies are either on alert or they are not on alert. I seem to remember somewhere reading that they would be on alert if you're wearing heavy armour. I can't actually remember where I read that, but the nature of being on alert is something that I think could probably be fleshed out a little bit more in this book. I'm a bit hazy on what exactly that means. But my understanding is that you can attack an enemy in any situation. I suppose if the enemy is not on alert, you can also choose to do some sneaking. I'm sure I've seen rules for sneaking about in here. Have I? I'm sure I did. Yeah, sneaking past enemies. Yeah, so if you're wearing light armour, this is where it was, and the enemies in a room are not on alert, then you can sneak past them. I'm not going to sneak past them because I think it would be a good opportunity for us to do some attacking, do some combat. So the enemy is not alert, but that doesn't mean I can't attack them. I'm going to attack them. This is how we attack. Only characters roll dice. Enemies deal damage in response to failed or partially successful attacks. So we're going to roll a number of dice equal to our attack attribute. Our attack attribute is 4. We're not going to be applying any modifiers to this, and we're going to look at our highest result. So 6 is our highest result. That is a success. On a 5 or higher, we hit the enemy without being hit back. On a 4, we hit the enemy and they hit us as well. And on a 3 or lower, we fail to hit the enemy and they hit you. But given that I'm rolling 4 dice, this is famous last words, it feels a little bit like the odds are stacked in my favour. Especially given that the damage dealt by a character is equal to the sum of their attack attribute and modifiers. Again, we have no modifiers. On a successful attack or counterattack, the damage is deducted first from the target's defence. When the target's defence reaches 0, exceeding damage applies to vitality. So we're doing 4 points of damage because our attack is 4. So that's going to take out the first goblin's defence and their vitality, and then the other point will roll on to the next goblin. So that's actually pretty good, pretty beneficial for us. This is our second attack, and again we've rolled a 6, so a success and 4 points of damage. So there you go, the goblins are taken out. So I suppose that in this game we are playing a character who is already pretty hard, and therefore they can plough through lower level enemies like that, but it feels a tiny bit too easy. Maybe I'm just being lucky, I don't know. So we can take the leather armour off the goblin. Leather armour is going to give us a defence of 2. I might write this in pencil this time. So that's going to take our defence back up to 2. And they had a coin each as well, so we are going to get 2 coins. And that is room number 1. So we need to move on to a second room. And there you go, that is the loop of the game really. You keep on going. We've got 16 rooms that we need to go through before we get to the final room, in which we will be attempting to defeat the cultist priest. We're going to do a few more rooms in this video, and then I'll probably finish up in a second part. Okay, we're going to push on into room 2. When we did room 1, I forgot to roll for the doors. Now, I quite like the door rolling table in this game. Ordinarily, you roll for the number of doors, or at least that's the approach I've found most frequently. In Caves and Catacombs, you roll twice on this table, and it tells you the direction that the door leaves the room from. If you roll the same result twice, then you just have one door. If you roll a 1 or a 6, you have no doors. So I think it's just a little bit different. Let's have a look what happens. 3 gives us a door east. 4 gives us a door west. So we've got 2 doors. And I think 2 being the maximum number of doors is quite nice. If you're getting 3 or 4 doors, all of a sudden you're having too many branches, too many options, and this keeps things a little bit tighter. So we've got a door to the east and a door to the west. Now when we go through a door, we need to turn to the character actions section and the moving to another segment. And so we're going to roll to see whether the door is locked. I've been coming across a lot of locked doors and stuck doors. We need to roll 2d6. Because a result of 2 to 6 will give us an unlocked door. So actually the likelihood of it being locked or stuck is quite high. So there you go, and that's 8. So that means we've got a locked door. We need to roll to unlock the door, so this is a skill test. If we roll 3 or lower, we fail to unlock the door and an alarm gets set off, causing enemies to appear. On a 4, we manage to unlock the door, but we alert enemies on the other side. That doesn't make much difference, really, unless you're trying to sneak. And a 5 or higher is a success. So we've rolled a 4, so we've unlocked the door. but the enemies on the other side will be alert, so we wouldn't be able to sneak past them if we were inclined to do some sneaky sneak. So what's on the other side? Well, it's a room. It is large. It's going to be an irregular shape because we rolled a 5 there, so we're going to roll a 1d6 to see what type. And we've ended up with a circular room. A circular room of approximately 8 squares. So there is our circular room. There's a lot of flipping. I think probably an A4 sheet with the key tables on would be handy. That might even already be a thing. I haven't looked through all of the resources you get when you purchase the PDF of the main book. What's in the room? 5 gives us a threat. 5 gives us another trap. 2 gives a hidden pit. So many pits. At least that's what seems to be what's happening to me at the moment. Just constant hidden pits. Anything else in this room? 6 special contents. So the special contents table requires 4 dice to be rolled. 10, 15. Paintings, frescoes, mosaics. Alright, I'm not sure that makes much difference. Now you can do some sort of light, more freeform role-playing in this game. If we turn right to the back, it's in the appendix, we've got a simple yes-no oracle. So if you were looking at the paintings on the wall, or you imagine your character looking at the paintings on the wall, and you want to ask a question about the paintings, if you wanted to say, do the paintings give me any idea of the sort of enemies that I might face? Or can I see some kind of clue in the paintings that might help me defeat the final boss? You can roll a yes, no, and then imagine a positive or a negative response to that and try and work it into your game. That's an option, if you want. Not sure I'm going to do that right now. We're just going to work out what we're going to do about this pit. So do we detect the pit? 2. We fail to find the trap and it goes off. My goodness. When trying to avoid a detected trap, roll. Oh, so you can only avoid if it's detected. Right, so that's if you roll a 4. Right, so we're taking another 4 damage. This is quite bad. That's taking me down to 1 health. I feel like Shale is not actually going to last that long. Maybe this is going to be a 1-part video. What we could do is use I think we're going to have to use our heal spell. So I was reading about spells in between rooms earlier while the video was paused. Yeah, so spells are a one-time deal. You choose 4 spells before each quest, and then each of those spells can be used a single time. Now I don't know if that means a single successful time, because you have to do a test. On a 3 or lower the spell fails. On a 4 the spell works but you forget an additional spell. 5 or higher the spell works. So if the spell fails, does it like sputter and you can give it another go? I'm not really sure. I think you only get to try it once. So I guess that's it. So we're going to roll to see whether our heal spell is successful. 6, yes it is, thank goodness for that. So that means we can go back up to 5 health, but our heal spell is gone. So that's it for that spell, unfortunately. Once again I forgot to roll for doors. Right, so let's have a look at the door situation. That's a none. And that's a none. So this is a dead end. We're going to go back through this way into a new room. We need to check if the door is locked. 2d6, sorry. 7. See, even 7 is a locked door. So we're going to try and unlock the door. 4, so that's a success, but enemies in the next segment are alerted. Find out what the next segment is going to be. A room, medium, and a rectangle. So medium is 6 squares. So this is room 3. I'm going to skip ahead and find out the number of exits first while I'm thinking of it. One to the west, one to the north. So we've got one back that way and one up there. With that done, let's find out what's in the room. 2 is furniture. 6, we should have rolled 2 dice then. 3 gives us a cabinet. Not a fan of cabinets. And then what else is in the room? 4 is a threat. Oh my goodness. What threat? Oh, not another trap. No, it is another trap. Okay. Traps. Oh, and it's a hidden pit. The 3rd room in a row with a hidden pit. In fact, it's exactly the same as the first room. We've got a hidden pit and a cabinet. Alright, so let's deal with the hidden pit. I'm not having much luck with the pits, really. Do we detect the hidden pit? Whoa, that went miles away. I'm going to pretend I didn't see that. 4. That is, we found the trap. We detected the trap, but the trap goes off. So we need to roll to avoid the trap. So really, yeah, I guess the hole in the floor falls open. We notice it in time, but we get a chance to try and detect it or to avoid it. 1, that's a fail. Take full damage. This is ridiculous. I tell you what, I think I'm going to reduce the damage done by a pit. I'm going to take 1 off it because it's just insane. We're going to take it down to 3, which still feels quite brutal. Oh, I've got defense, haven't I? So I don't need... I can take 2 off the defense, which means I still need to take 1 damage, which is going to take me down to 4. Brutal. Let's see what happens with the cabinet. Oh, please don't have enemies jump out of it. That was a 5. See, if it rolls off camera and it goes in my favour, I tell you about it. Nothing interesting in the cabinet. Alright, so let's try and go west through that door there. 3, unlocked door. What a delightful treat. Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, you could fit most of the key smaller tables onto one A4 sheet, and that would be handy. Do you know what? I think what we'll do is we'll have one more room. We'll call it quits on this video, and I'm going to come back with a reference sheet of some kind so I don't have to flip around quite so much. What was I doing? Oh, we're rolling for the next room, aren't we? 3 is a room. 4 is medium. 5 is a odd shape. 3 is a triangle, so a medium triangular room. I'm going to struggle. Actually, if we put it up that way. Room number 4. What's the door situation in room number 4? We've got 1 to the west and 1 to the south. Well, we will flip the... I think we'll just go for the west, actually, because we can't have 1 to the south. That's going to go into this little weird gap. And if we have 1 to the west, it will clash with this room over here. No, let's put in, instead of 1 to the south, we'll put 1 to the east as well. I can always draw a little corridor to take us up there. What's in the room? A threat. An encounter. Thank goodness it's not another trap. What are we encountering here? 3 plus 1 is 4. Zombies. So a zombie is equivalent to the number of player characters. That's what this little symbol here means. So it's just the 1 zombie that we've got going on in here. Anything else in this room? 3 is a... No, wait a minute. 3 is empty. So just a zombie. Right at the perfect moment then, my memory on my phone ran out and I had to stop recording. But we're back and we're going to destroy this zombie before we finish up this video. Combat. We haven't done a lot of combat actually. It was just those 2 goblins and then that was it. So we're going to roll dice equal to our attack attribute. Our attack attribute is 4. Where's my 4th dice? There it is. Keep the higher value. Highest value is 5. So a 5 or higher is a successful hit. We are doing damage equal to our attack value, which is 4. And so that easily takes out the zombie. I don't think the zombie has anything handy. No treasure. So there we go. Zombie is defeated. Room 4 is clear. I'm going to come back in a second video. There'll be a link down in the description below if it's out already. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Caves and Catacombs. I think it is a worthy addition to this little subgenre, and I look forward to you joining me for the conclusion of this adventure. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.